It's the midway point of the 2020 Grand National Cross Country Championship, and the hopes are high as riders roll into southeastern Ohio hoping for a win today. And with the champ's armor chinked, some folks are hoping to see a change in the guard. Will it be the case, or will Walker Fowler come back to take win number 60 here today? The war wages on as the battle continues to be the best in GNCC.
Are you ready to go GNCC Racing?
Hello and welcome to the granddaddy of them all, the Wisecoat John Penton GNCC. Round number 7, the halfway point of the 2020 Grand National Cross Country Championship. I'm Rodney Tomlin. It's all being presented to you by Specialized E-Turbo Bikes. It's you only faster. And here in southeastern Ohio, what a great day we've got on tap for you, and what a great day we had 2 weeks ago, just a little east of here at the High Point GNCC. As got off to a great start there for Jared McClure, and looked like things were going to be dialed in, maybe at least for the first half a lap or so, for someone else to take a win other than Walker Fowler. But all of a sudden, as Walker Fowler was in search of that 60th win, we saw him working his way up from 4th place early on into the lead position before it was all said and done. Now there we saw him tracking down the sneaky snake at Jared McClure and laying that chase on him. He gets around and makes the pass, and lo and behold, Walker Fowler is out front, and he's got a whole host of riders trying to track him down, including the Coltrane Cole Richardson, who was trying to keep him in sight. And with him in sight, maybe being able to make the pass like he was able to do, got around after some trouble for Walker Fowler on that final lap of racing, and Walker laid his head down and started chasing, but it was too little too late for the defending champ with 5 wins, looking at win number 6. Bryson Neal also back there in the shadows trying to make things happen, but at the checkers, it was the number 4 of Cole Richardson taking the win, stopping Walker Fowler's win streak at 5 for the 2020 season, and at win number 59 as he'll look for win number 60 again here today in Ohio. It was Richardson, Fowler, Bryson Neal in 3rd, McClure and Borich rounding out the top 5.
You know, it's funny, we went out and biked the track Friday, and 2 years ago when we got our first win here, the track was a lot like that. And, you know, towards the end there was honestly like deja vu, and literally replayed 2 years ago when I got my first win with me and Walker. And, you know, we got off to a good start, though. That's what we needed. It was a little dusty in the field, but honestly it wasn't as bad as I expected. You know, last year was way worse, but, you know, Jared actually put a real good pace down at the beginning, and I just quite couldn't hang with him. And, you know, Walker caught me, but, you know, we didn't want to make it easy on him. And, you know, I just kept pushing, and, you know, we pitted a lap early. Jared kept going, and, I didn't seem like I was rolling in Jared too quick, so I actually let Walker around because, you know, they gave us a better chance to get up front and, you know, possibly win towards the end. And sooner enough, we caught Jared. I think he got messed up with a lap, or Walker passed him. Jared got going, I was behind him, and then about a mile later, Jared, I think, clipped a tree in the dust, got around him, and Walker kind of had a little buffer. We closed the gap on that, and I went around the corner, and he was, I think a lapper might have kind of screwed him, and he took the wrong line, and you know, was off his quad trying to push it back, and we got into the lead, and literally reminded me of 2 years ago when he was leading. I caught back up. He hit a tree that time, though, and I literally led almost the same exact track to the finish, and I was just like, don't make a mistake, and you know, we ended up in first place.
Well, there you go. Win number 3 for Cole Richardson as we roll into Ohio. 2 hours of racing. Typical John Penton mud today throughout most of the course. A 10.5-mile course. You got some rocks. You got some clay. Lots of slick clay. But out here in these open fields, you'll see some dry, dusty conditions. We had some, and look at this. The Phoenix Racing Honda ride coming from the ashes himself. Chris Borich grabbing another hole shot here in 2020. The All Balls Hole Shot Award going to that number 3. Looks like a pretty good start also for Walker Fowler, about 2nd or 3rd place position. Not so good for Adam McGill there, who will pick up a dead last start after some troubles there in turn number 1. He had a pretty good jump off the line, just not able to put it together through the turn. Walker Fowler leading. Chris Borch now in second. Jared McClure in third. In fourth is Cole Richardson. And Bryson Neal rounding out the top five. Neal taking the win a year ago there in the 7th place position. We saw the number 7 of Hunter Hart. Now down to the XC2 Pro-Am class as they are off and rolling here from our Yamaha Racing Skycam. We see a great jump off the line there by Austin Abney, and Abney gets the whole shot. Oh, but not the early lead, nearly tipping that one over. Drew Lander's going to move out in front. Brandon Owens, and also looks like Ronnie Rush in that 3rd place position as we open things up here now in the XC2 Pro-Am class. Abney's been a huge threat for wins here, as has Landers and has Owens on that Pirate MX.com back machine. We'll see how things fare for those riders as this day progresses. Here up front, though, it is still Fowler out front. McClure in third behind Chris Borch. So we got a couple of Hondas running behind the Yamaha right now. And Cole Richardson appears to have dropped off to the number 5 position as the number 2 of Bryson Neal now up to a 4th place position. You know, Neal's in good striking position. Will he be able to take the win here 2 years in a row? Stick around to find out. GNCC continues after this.
Coverage of the 2020 Grand National Cross Country Series on MAVTV is brought to you in part by Specialized Turbo E-Bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. And by Yamaha. Revs your heart.
And welcome back to Millfield, Ohio, the Sunday Creek Raceway for the Wisecoat John Penton GNCC. Been happening here since 1991, the longest standing GNCC on the circuit. As you can see, also a little muddy out there today, but not as bad as what it could be, but not nearly as dry as it should be here in July as far as conditions are concerned in southeastern Ohio. A little rain on Thursday night moistened things up in the woods and has kept it pretty, I guess, muddy in some areas, those low-lying areas, especially in those deeper woods. Now, on the edges of the woods and in the field sections, a little drier and dustier, but a nice little wind blowing today. Some overcast skies that's helping those dusty conditions not be such a factor for these riders as we roll through the FMF PowerPoint here at mile marker number 4 on lap number 1. Not much of a change up through these top 5. Cole Richardson still rounding out the 5th place position as the number 2 of Bryson Neal did get around him. Neal, as we said, won here a year ago. 40 minutes from back door to, his pit door, he said, to get to this race. So this is literally his hometown race, and one that he hopes to be able to win again here, and one that he feels he should be able to without much problem. He's gotten around for the now 3rd place position as Chris Borch has dropped off to 4th. Still Richardson back in the number 5 position. A little further down trail now as we near the completion of this first lap of racing. Walker Fowler starting to open things up. We're looking at about a 10 to 12 second gap over the 2nd place position. I believe that's Jared McClure making his way around on board the number 5 machine. Another rider that is more than capable of taking wins. Neal in the number 3 spot. Richardson now up to 4th as he's gotten around the number 3 of Chris Borch, dropping off to the number 5 position. Further down the trail now, picking up the action, Walker Fowler. And there is Bryson Neal. Neal around for the 2nd place position, making his way around the number 5 of Jared McClure. McClure now dropping to the number 3 position, but he's got company also. That's the number 4 of Cole Richardson. So this one is still pretty tight. There is Chris Borch still in the number 5 position. We're starting to see a little bit of a gap open up to the 6th place position. I believe Wesley Wolf, Josh Merritt, Hunter Hart all battling for the 6th, 7th, and 8th place positions. There is the number 1 of Walker Fowler here on lap number 2 at the Monster Mile. You see him coming through this one. Now again, if you're familiar with the Monster Mile, it may not be a mile in length, but it sure is a monster. There's no doubt about that. And you see what's going on here. A lot of rocks through this moist condition, these wet conditions, through these drainage ditches and valleys and so forth through the southeastern hills of Ohio. And these could be quite a bit of a game changer for these riders. If they get off just a little bit off the beaten path there, you can see a wheel wedged into one of those rocks could certainly cause a lot of problems. And though flat tires might not be as much of an issue as they were back in the day as far as GNCC racing is concerned with the flat-proof tire inflation systems, it is still quite a bit of a factor to factor in here. Now, one thing you could say, back in 91 when this race began, this area I would have to think that the riders would be going a little bit slower through. Not seeing much of a change second, third, fourth, fifth, well, those second, third, fourth, and fifth. It's the gap between first and second place that might be tightening up now as Walker Fowler gets in one of these, well, down here in the X-Hauler, gets in one of those rock sections, finds himself getting hung up, maybe got grabbed by a root or something coming up out of that little gully, but whatever the case may be, he takes what could have been a 20-second lead now, and it's down to about 15 or so seconds, and the second place ride, Bryson Neal, looking for his second consecutive year in the center of the box here in Ohio at home. Will he make it happen, or will Walker Fowler take win number 60? Stick around to find out. GNCC continues after this. Welcome back to GNCC on MAVTV. Rodney Tomlin here at the Wise Coach John Penton GNCC. As we took a break in the action throughout the weekend for our EMTB GNCC. It's a pedal assist mountain bike race. It's electric mountain bike racing as Hot Rod Charlie Mullins, obviously the man to beat, and his biggest nemesis on the day, Kyle Smith, the number 99 out of Cornelius, North Carolina. Also a fellow North Carolinian, William Pegram, in the number 3 spot to open things up. There was the number 2 of Seth Stevens out of Danbury, North Carolina. Seems to be a lot of North Carolinians as well as PA riders out there. Speaking of Carolinians, there we saw Mitchell Hawkins, who was a second place position finisher in the youth class racing. He finished up behind the 206 of Jacob McPherson. Now, McPherson, Hawkins, Cooper Knuff, and Talon Hawk, there we see on the number 7 right now, the son of the great Barry Hawk, who, Talon finished 4th in that race there at Wiseco John Penton GNCC. But at the checkers, Hot Rod Charlie Mullins was able to do it once again and take the win as he posted up yet another historic win in specialized EMTB GNCC racing and working on another national championship. And speaking of national championships being worked on, here is your leader, Walker Fowler, looking for his 6th national championship in the 2020 season. And he currently holds on to a monumental points lead as far as this championship is concerned at the halfway point, round 7 of 13. Here in Ohio as he goes for win number 60 on the career, win number 6 for the 2020 championship. But, a chink in the armor applied by Cole Richardson a couple of weeks ago makes everyone wonder if maybe he's beatable again, and if he can be beaten again, whether or not he might be able to be beaten for the championship. Now, it's a tall order to fill, I'm sure, but you got to start somewhere, and starting somewhere is Ohio's own Bryson Neal. Now, Walker Fowler, also an Ohio rider, but from up in northern Ohio. Bryson Neal, as we said, just 40 minutes away in Bidwell, Ohio. They call him the Bidwell Bullet. But I have to think sometimes this rider races like a heat-seeking missile. As we look at him right now, Walker Fowler is starting to feel the pressure from number 2. That 12-second gap now down to about 3 seconds as we near the completion now of lap number 4, rolling into this mulch pile. This is a pretty tricky area of the racetrack as well that changes year after year after year. And look at this, Walker Fowler looking over the shoulder. He feels the pressure coming in from Bryson Neal. Didn't know if that lap traffic got in between them or not, but you can see that Bryson Neal is not going to settle easy for a second place position today as he is laid chase to Walker Fowler, now rolling into this final lap of racing. And in that second place position is still Bryson Neal back there as he is right behind Fowler. Fowler getting the big breaks he was looking for through some of these tougher sections. He's trying to get some lap traffic between he and Neal, and he's done it. He's opened that gap back up as we check in just a little further down the trail, and now a 2 to 3 second gap has not only stretched out back to that 12-second gap that we've seen most of the race today that Bryson Neal has been running behind Walker Fowler, but we're looking more in the neighborhood of about 20 seconds back to the number 2 position. And Walker Fowler head down, lay in chase to checkers and win number 60. Now, it doesn't look like he is going to be stopped by anyone at this juncture in the race, but we know GNCC and we know the variables play a huge and monumental role in the way things unfold. And Bryson Neal has found his well, his fair share of those variables over the years leading, heading down to the checker flag. Oh, and Walker Fowler found his own variable, tagged by the tree, or I should say he tags a tree. Looks like one of those hard-packed turns. He gets a little loose in that one, and then all of a sudden, somehow or another, gets into that tree, loses a few seconds, but now a 20-plus second lead. He loses maybe 4 or 5 seconds there, but is it going to be enough to get that fire fired back up in Bryson Neal and put him back into the chase? Stick around to find out. GNCC Racing continues after this.
Coverage of the 2020 Grand National Cross Country Series on MAVTV is brought to you in part by Specialized Turbo E-Bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready. And by Yamaha, revs your heart.
Welcome back to Millfield, Ohio, Sunday Creek Raceway for the Wiseco John Penton GNCC Round 7 of the Grand National Cross Country Championship season. Walker Fowler out front in this one as we roll into the final lap of racing, coming down through these rocky hollers out of that, out of the FMF PowerPoints there and into the Monster Miles. And now Bryson Neal seems to be closing that gap back up some. We saw the problems for Fowler there just before the break, and as we roll through, now look at this here on this final lap. Further down the trail, Bryson Neal somehow or another has made his way around Walker Fowler and taken over the lead. And as we look back, Walker Fowler running some 7 or 8 seconds back behind the number 2 machine. So more problems arising. It looks like maybe some risky moves by the number 2 of Neal. You see the leaves caught in the helmet cam on top of his helmet there. So he's gotten off trail a little bit and got some of those low-lying limbs out there. Fowler still back in the number 2 position. You can see him waving to the fans there, still in good spirits right now, even after being passed by Bryson Neal. This will be 2 defeats in a row, and his now second attempt at win number 60. Bryson Neal pits. They're pretty stoked to see what's going on there. You saw that shot of them a little while ago. They looked a little more concerned, but here toward the end of this final lap of racing, they appear to be a little more lighthearted, and good reason, as the rider leads this final lap. And now onto the moto track for the final time, the number 2 of Bryson Neal from Bidwell, Ohio, the Bidwell Bullet, on his way home to the checkers here at the John Penton GNCC, and he does it in 2019, and now he will do it again in 2020 at the checkers in these final turns. Here we go. Can he make it happen? One more turn to go before we see those checkers waving. In hand for Ricky Towery, final turn, and Bryson Neal takes his 3rd win of his career and his 2nd consecutive win here at the Wiseco John Penton GNCC.
I heard Walker at the past interview, he said that he wasn't losing this one no matter what, and I was like, all right, me neither, let's go. I worked hard, and I had brake trouble. He said he had brake trouble. We had a good race. Boy, it was tough, that track. His train track ruts out there, slot car. Man, my bike just handled great, and I couldn't be more happy. My friends, family, all the fans out there were amazing today, cheering me on. You got hats off to Walker. He did a great job. He's a great champion. He's a good winner, humble guy, but feels good to get one on him, and we're going to try to gun for another one in Indiana in 2 weeks.
Well, it seems like it's been a long time coming, but finally Bryson Neal back to the center of the box on this one, as Walker Fowler will finish up in a 2nd place position. Won't do a whole lot as far as the championship points race is concerned, but it certainly does feel good to win.
But yeah, so you had to have front brakes, and as soon as I didn't have them, that was at the 3. I made it to the 7. Bryson bonsai'd a little line. There was a guy broke down the middle of the track, and I was all sketched out because I couldn't stop. And he just went right around me. Ended up clipping Bryson, and the guy that was broke down flipped it and said, you know what, 2nd place again. I just need championship points, and that's what we got today. So like I said, hats off to Bryson. I'm not pissed because I rode like myself. Other than the mistakes, the bike was awesome. The track was fantastic. The fans were phenomenal. Not mad at all. Like I got a smile on my face. This was classic John Penton.
Well, a little different composure than what we saw out of Walker Fowler a couple of weeks ago. Swallowed that one a little better, but Also a good day for Ohio riders out there. Jared McClure will finish up in third, Cole Richardson in fourth, Chris Borich rounds out the top five, then McGill, Hart, Wolf, Merritt, and Devin Feehan rounds out your top 10. Let's head down to our third place interview with Jared McClure.
Yeah, third overall. We'll take it. You know, it's a good rebound after last race. You know, led there all race and was really feeling good, and kind of threw it away last lap with some lappers. So come here today, got another good start. You know, the Baldwin motor with that Dirtworks 24-volt kit fired right up, and you know we were third. You know, we were fighting for the whole shot again, so that was cool. It means a lot in these races. It seems like the start anymore, especially with Walker out front. So. You know, got off to a good start, and you know, I wasn't expecting it. I mean, Penton gets rutted, but it was deep ruts, and you know, it kind of pumped me up a little bit in the beginning, and I was struggling running Walker's pace. So Bryson got by me, and tried to latch on to him a little bit, and just you know, he kind of got away from me. So I ended up battling with Cole most of the day. We went back and forth. I opted to pit late again, and I only had to stop one time, which was kind of good. And just like I said, kind of rode with Cole most of the day, and we battled twice on the last lap, passed back and forth. That was fun, and you know, everything was working good. GBC tires were working awesome in this Ohio clay here, so real happy about that choice. And you know, Elga suspension, Texera, all that stuff was dialed.
Well, maybe things can start to change a little bit with a couple of different winners in the last couple of races, but still championship belonging to Walker Fowler right now. As we take a look at this recap from the day, Chris Borich, solid ride for him in fifth today, got the whole shot, eventually dropped back to the number 5 spot and held on to that one, finishing nearly a minute ahead of the 6th place finish of the number 521 of Adam McGill, who actually got off to a good start but crashed in the first turn, was dead last, and came back to 6th. Walker Fowler had, well, a good day going, but then all of a sudden ran into troubles. You see, getting hung up on the rock, then getting hung up on the tree, and other issues arising, which allowed for the number 2 of Bryson Neal to close the gap up. And the gap closing up there very tightly. It stretched back out a little bit for Walker Fowler at one point, but it wasn't long before the number 2 of Bryson Neal in that final lap was able to establish himself as the leader and then start putting a little bit of distance between himself and the number 1 to take away a very big win. His first win in about a year, his second consecutive win here at the Wiseco John Penton, and his third win of his GNCC XC1 racing career. And as you can hear the crowd in the background and see the pit crew, everyone is excited there in southeastern Ohio as their own hometown boy basically taking the big win on this one. To keep up to date with GNCC Racing, be sure and visit GNCCRacing.com. That's going to wrap things up here from Millfield and Sunday Creek Raceway. On behalf of all of us, I'm Rodney Tomlin. Have a great day, everybody.